Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi, ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us, a show about all things Disney. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Tennell, Griffy D-Pad, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing?
I'm not a fan of Coldplay.
If we were talking about literally anything else, that would be the most random statement to make.
It's
Is it
still
also
pretty random, to be fair.
The most random addition into this documentary? Yes.
Didn't expect Chris Martin, yeah.
Yes, it is. Of course, folks, we're hanging out today. We are talking about music by John Williams, the documentary coming out all about the fantastic, the amazing, the wonderful John Williams and all of the amazing music he has created. With a lot of weird, random people in here, like Coldplay, like Seth Rogen.
MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane. I said Seth Rogen. Seth MacFarlane for no fucking reason. Like,
well, no, because look at how we can get into it. Do your rigmarole. There's reasons why he's here.
Oh yeah, he's here. It makes sense, but also it's just dumb. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this. We'll talk about the documentary. We're going to talk about John Williams and whatnot, but there's so much to go through. I feel like we got to take a beat, though, before we talk about that with Mitch. How are you doing?
I'm doing better than you. I know that much, at least, because I know the kind of week you've had. So if you want a moment to decompress, to yell into the ether, whatever it is you need, go for it. Save space.
Guess what, folks? Shit's fucked. I waited the minute and a half we normally need to wait so that we don't get demonetized, even though we don't make any money.
Wait, we're monetized?
No, it's a thing. You have to wait like a certain amount of time on YouTube. Yeah, shit's fucked. And there's not really much we can do about it except make our own little community safe. So as a reminder for you folks out there, D++ is absolutely a safe space for women, LGBTQ+, anybody that is not fucking white. We are a safe place for everybody. If you're not okay with that, get the fuck out. Frankly, if you voted for Trump, get the fuck out. Like,
you don't deserve the whimsy that is John Williams.
Mm-hmm. You don't deserve any of our shit, frankly. Like,
well, that too. I was just trying to keep it topical, but you're entirely right.
Oh yeah, we'll get back
This is not a space for you if you agree with the bigotry, xenophobia,
racism, sexism,
bigotry, he's a rapist.
Yeah,
sexism. None of it is good.
No.
And we're all dealing with the repercussions of that.
Like, obviously, this next 4 years is going to be harrowing. But I want to remind y'all, if you listen to this show, first off, thank you for coming through. Second off, this will always be a safe place for you.
Now, we're here to just have fun, decompress, and talk about silly things that the Walt Disney Company does or puts out.
I'm sure we will get deep on stuff again. You know, there's Captain America coming next year, which is going to be a whole ball of wax to talk about.
Eventually, we'll have to talk about Bob Iger's successor and any ties he might have to a current administration, or they might have.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to actual Disney, Marvel, Star Wars content, I'm terrified to talk about it when Andor season 2 comes out.
That'll be an interesting one.
I was recently rewatching Andor season 1, and I was like, oh, yep, check.
It's so good.
Check. So, that all said, there's no good way to transition back into the normal show from that.
So, Seth MacFarlane.
We're talking today about music by John Williams, directed by Lauren Bozereau. Kind of going through the life and compositions of John Williams with a ton of different interviews from a litany of different people. I'm going to read out this quick name of all of these awesome people because, frankly, every single person that is interviewed in this does fantastic work and deserves it. So, interviews from this documentary include Steven Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall, Kate Capshaw, Gustavo Dudamel, J.J. Abrams, Chris Martin, Ron Howard, Chris Columbus, George Lucas, Itzhak Perlman, Lawrence Kaspa, Yo-Yo Ma, Kei Kwan, James Mangold, Alan Silvestri, David Newman, Thomas Newman, Seth MacFarlane, and Sophie Mutter, and Brandon Marsalis. Here's probably the easiest way to just talk about how badass this documentary is when you get to the credits. Sure enough, the music for this documentary is
Scored by John Williams.
Like,
I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, you're doing this. It's about your music. Of course you're going to come with a score for your own goddamn documentary, because that's kind of G that John Williams is.
well, dude, the first thing I thought of when I saw that was, do you remember the Defunctland video about like the Disney Channel chime
Theme. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, guess what? There's like this big twist in it where it's like, guess what? This entire video has been scored by the person who wrote that. It's just such a mic drop that you can drop at the end of something so amazing about a career so amazing as John Williams, with a litany of emotion attached to it. But to get back to it, yeah, Seth MacFarlane is like one of the first faces you see in this, and it still feels weird.
It feels weird, but look at what Star Wars has meant to Family Guy and to Seth MacFarlane personally. Like, they've done, I want to say, I mean, there was I can't remember what they titled them as, but I know they did the original trilogy. I don't know if they've done anything past that, because I kind of fell off of Family Guy, but this music is so influential that it covers, a very wide litany of individuals. And I think also you look at Seth MacFarlane, the performer, and the fact that he is a jazz musician, the fact that he is he moonlights as Frank Sinatra. Like, there's definitely an overlap between John Williams' previous career working in jazz and his father's career in jazz, and what influence that may have had on Seth MacFarlane's career and his trajectory. So it makes sense when you think about it. But unless you think about it, it's like, why the fuck is the Family Guy dude here?
Oh yeah, a lot of his stuff is like heavily based off a lot of those things. Like the entire existence of Ted is based off of E.T. Like a lot of Seth MacFarlane's projects are based off of Spielberg and John Williams. So it makes sense for him to be here also, with him being like this massive musician. Which was still really weird when I saw he had a Christmas album.
Is it though? Everyone's got a Christmas album.
No,
we
it
got
makes
the
too much
goddamn
sense.
Star Wars holiday special.
It
makes
makes
sense that John Williams has a Christmas album.
But it was still one of those things that I saw and had to do a double take. I'm like, wait a minute, Seth MacFarlane? And I had to do even more of a double take when I listened to it, and it was good.
I mean, I don't know why you're surprised. He also had that album. I can't remember who it was with.
But also, yeah, on the topic of everyone has a Christmas album, Critical Role just released a Christmas album. And I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm very excited about it.
So Seth MacFarlane has an album, Songs from Home, with Elizabeth Gillies, which is honestly, the two of them together are phenomenal.
Yeah, it's... I also forget that he is the, he's the mouse in Sing that sings
Yes,
Frank
yes.
Sinatra.
Yes.
And it's like one of the
Because he's
best
really
moments
good.
in that movie. So
People don't realize what a talented musician he is. Like, it's kind of spooky.
yeah, the album, the Christmas album came out in 2023. It's him and Liz Gillis. Anyways, music by John Williams.
Yes. Back to the documentary.
Where the hell do we even start?
I have one thing I can start at, and I definitely want to try and rectify this, but seeing all of these films, I realize there are some major gaps in my film viewing experience.
Yeah. What haven't you
Yeah.
seen, Mitch?
I've never seen Schindler's List.
Seriously?
Seriously, I've never seen that movie.
Wow.
I didn't even realize Liam Neeson was in it until I saw this.
It's like one of the
I know.
movies.
I know. I've never seen it. It's streaming anywhere. Watch that.
It's got to be streaming somewhere. It's Schindler's List.
Canada's weird, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have weird shit.
But I mean, There are other ways to quickly travel the globe.
Yeah, there's so much interesting stuff about here when it comes to just how his philosophy on music, his life, like how he meets Steven Spielberg, how he meets George Lucas, his absolute like, I'm not sure I should do the Star Wars movie. And Steven being like, dude, do the movie, you're going to have fun. And that it's one of the biggest things he's ever created.
I would say probably the most iconic theme. One of, if not the most iconic theme in film.
I think there's a couple that have Star Wars beat that he's done. But I don't think I'm saying iconic. For once, the only one I think beats it is the Jaws theme.
I was going to say Jaws is pretty good, but I meant more so just in general in the pantheon of film. I mean, you have scores. I mean, a number of them are his. And I mean, say what you will. We will say this from the top that J.K. Rowling's a piece of shit. We shouldn't support the media that she's profiting from. The score to Harry Potter is incredible.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason those first three movies are the best of those movies. Yeah, it was. I think it was one of those things where going back where I didn't really know too much of John Williams' early career.
So, before we get into that, BBC Music did a poll back in 2019, and they put together a list of the 43, for whatever reason, most popular film themes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you. John Williams is on this list repeatedly. You give me a few of them, I'll tell you where they place.
Okay, so obviously Star Wars.
Star Wars, A New Hope, the number one result in terms of the most popular themes of all time.
Okay. I'll just throw the couple out there that are massive to me, which are Superman.
Superman, the movie, number 9 on this list.
Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, number 6.
What else have we got? E.T.?
So there are 5, no, 1, 2, 3. There are 6 John Williams scores in the top 10.
Okay, so I've gotten how many of them so far?
3. You've gotten Star Wars, Raiders. And Superman.
E.T.?
No.
Wow.
E.T. is number 22 on this list.
That should be higher, but...
It very much should be.
Are there any more? Is Star Wars used multiple times?
Star Wars, there is only one entry per franchise on this list.
Okay,
so if you said the franchise, I would give you whatever entry is here.
Going through some more of his stuff. Close Encounters. Clearly not top 10, but
it's not even on the list.
it should be. That
It's also another film I've never seen.
this is gonna be the Griffin Becomes Disappointed in Mitch podcast.
Very much so. Yes.
Let's hit some more Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park is in at number 4.
We talked about it, so I gotta ask: is Schindler's List on here?
It is not.
Okay.
You're
what
missing
else
2.
we got Hook.
No.
Maybe?
And we've already talked about these 2. If that helps.
That's thinking that I ever remember anything we talk about in the podcast, and this isn't entirely just stream of consciousness.
It's been 13 minutes.
How
You
really?
can't remember the last 13 minutes of conversation?
No, I cannot. Jaws.
Jaws is number 7.
You said you hadn't seen Schindler's List, but we talked about Schindler's List. Oh, this last one's gonna drive me.
Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, ba,
Of course, Harry Potter.
Number 3. Rounding out the rest of this top 10, you've got Pirates of the Caribbean at 10. The Godfather at
As it
8.
should be.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly at 5. And The Lord of the Rings at 2.
Interesting. I would swap Lord of the Rings and Pirates personally, but
I would as well.
also it's wild that we have not to this day done a Pirates of the Caribbean podcast.
What?
We still have not talked about pirates.
That's got to be next. You heard it here first. Breaking news, because I friggin' love those movies.
Just the next 3 episodes is the 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
So on this top 10, Griffin, there are 2 films that I've never seen.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly,
You're not missing much.
and The Godfather.
What the fuck, bitch? Just what the fuck,
don't-
man?
I don't know what's wrong with me. It's
Like,
just some. I have
We
some
talk
major
about
gaps in my film history.
movies.
I know.
Like, I know we were
I'm
technically an
surprised
all
Hans
Disney
Zimmer didn't get a
podcast.
spot in this top 10, which was interesting.
When was this poll done?
2019.
Okay, because I was like, there's definitely been some more recent ones where I'm like, I think I would count them. Stuff with
Such as?
Zimmer, Alan Silvestri, like, I would honestly put the Avengers theme as one of my favorite themes of all time.
Dark Knight is in here. I'm looking for Avengers. Up is in here. Yeah, Avengers didn't make it.
I need to do a quick Google on who does the music for a movie.
Which movie?
Give me a second.
All right.
Yeah,
all
it's Michael
right.
Giacchino. Which is it's Coco.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think
So-
a lot of
Yep.
a lot of music for now, and I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
Go
Music
for it.
now for movies is so damn good. Like, music in games are like primarily a lot of the music that I listen to. I am someone who still purchases records, and about half of my records are video game or movie soundtracks. And about
Okay, so-
half of the movie soundtracks I own are John Williams.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all by that. There are a few gaps in my vinyl collection that I want to fill with some more film scores. I do have a few, but I do certainly need a few more John Williams in my collection. I found another article that is the BBC Music writers getting together and doing their top 20. And I think you're going to be much happier with this top 5.
Okay, yeah, hit me.
Number 5, Star Wars: A New Hope.
As it should be. Although,
4.
here's my hot take for you. The main theme for Star Wars was not even close to the best song of Star Wars.
No, I honestly think Rey's theme is the best Star Wars.
I would say Rey or Yoda's theme.
Yoda's is also very good. At number 4, you've got Jaws.
Or Binary Sunset. Binary Sunset is really good.
Binary Sunset is also very good.
Yeah, Jaws.
Well, Duel of the Fates.
I think, oh, I love Duel of the Fates. Binary Sunset is better than Duel of the Fates.
No, what? No, not even close. All right, we got.
You get an opinion once you've seen
We have to do an episode. I honestly think this would be a lot of fun. We do an episode that is just us making a tier list of the best songs in Star Wars.
I'm going to write that down. That is
Do it.
genius.
That'd be
That is
fun.
genius.
So at number 3,
It's
you've
going
got
to be us
Bernard
arguing
Herrmann's-
the entire podcast.
Exactly. And we get Nick or a couple other Star Wars folks. It'd be a blast. At 3, you've got Bernard Herrmann's score to the film Psycho.
Ooh, that's a
Which,
good one.
yes, very good. Bernard Herrmann on this. The top 5 is just Bernard Herrmann and John Williams. So at number 2, you've got Vertigo.
Classic movie.
And the best film score, according to the writers of BBC Music Magazine, is E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Hell yeah.
Which
it
makes Griffin
deserves
happy.
it. I fucking love E.T. Can you blame me?
Not in the slightest. It's been a
I'm
long time
so-
since I've seen E.T.
I'm was so happy watching this documentary when they're like, oh yeah, fans are gonna fucking love it when Yoda's theme pops in for a little bit when E.T. is dressed as Yoda. Because guess what? We do. It is a great moment in the film.
Yes.
Okay, let me write this down before
Before you forget.
Star Wars music. Here's my pitch for you. We rank the Star Wars music, just us. And then we show it to Nick and he just yells at us.
That would actually be great. So we already have the list done, and the episode is Nick critiquing the list.
Yeah. Well, we can do both in the episode. There's some editing required there.
Be like,
but-
hey, Nick, just hang out in the waiting room for 2 hours. We'll do this.
Bringing it back around. There's some music from John Williams that is like fundamental, I would say, to my being. There are some themes from him that are life changing to me. Like, I think one of the big things that they talk about in this documentary, other than just how damn good this man is at writing different themes, we do not give the Catch Me If You Can theme, for what it's worth, enough credit.
Which is honestly one of, if not my favorite Spielberg film.
Yeah, it's great. Well, it's
I
my little brother's
absolutely love
favorite.
that. It's so good.
But there's some lesser known ones I want to shout out for him. One of those being Lincoln, because Lincoln is one of the most boring movies I have ever seen. Lincoln is way too long, is way too boring. I do not recommend watching this movie. But goddamn, the soundtrack is amazing. And it's just the power of John Williams.
So it looks like E.T. is on Prime and Netflix. So I think I know what I'm watching tonight when we're done here.
Oh yeah, good choices. Yeah, I'm shocked that after watching this, I didn't just watch a dozen John Williams movies. I really felt like rewatching Close Encounters, because Close Encounters is my text tone on my phone.
Is it actually?
It's that 5-note like.
The one they talk about in the documentary that I hadn't heard until this documentary because I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, that's my text tone. Of course, you never hear it because my phone is always on silent.
I don't even know what the text tone is on my phone.
Well, my ringtone is Raiders. So, well, that's not.
Yeah,
true.
I think
It's
I'm a basic bitch. All my stuff is like just whatever's built into the iPhone. I should change that.
Yeah, it's so I should rephrase. It's either Raiders or the X-Men theme, because it's the X-Men theme. Like, what are you gonna do? There's so many great movies here. Another one I want to talk about for a little bit is let's talk about Superman, because I think that was a moment that had me in tears. Of them talking specifically about, like, you can hear the hope of that story in that soundtrack. And just on a whim, like, after watching this, like, the next day while working, I turned on the Superman theme. And sure enough, you can just feel it. Listening to that music, you feel the power of Superman. Like, you can feel the hope that man brings. Like, music is, I've always said that music is extremely powerful. So to see it, like, see someone who has so much power to make people feel different emotions, and to actually feel that in listening to the Superman theme is just amazing. It's one of my favorite moments in this documentary that they're talking about it.
So I think something that's really beautiful just about Superman and the story of Christopher Reeve is the reverence in which that film and his performance is held in such high regard. I think is well earned, and something that I'm really looking forward to when I get a chance to sit down and watch it is the fact that I know we're, oh, Marvel, DC, whatever. We love all media for the most part, other than a few caveats of people just being assholes. I really love the idea that the first DC Studios production is a documentary about Christopher Reeve. Like that, it just feels so right.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, that's what I'm saying. I need to sit down and watch it at some point because I'm very much looking forward to it.
Bawling watching it, because the story of Christopher Reeve is amazing. There's so much wonderful things to talk about in this. One of the things that was kind of surprising to me, it's like, we talk a lot about the movies, but like, he has done so much more than just those movies. Like, he is the sounds we think of for Sunday Night Football, and
which blew my mind.
The Olympics, like I knew the Olympics.
Less so for the Olympics for us, because I mean our broadcasts are always the Canadian ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Like but I was like, it was one of those where it's like, I recognize, like, I know that he's doing the Olympics. It's still mind blowing that he does Sunday Night Football, or like NBC's News. He did their theme. Like, he did all of these different, like, little themes for all of these different people, and it's just freaking cool.
Well, and I love as well the way that he talks about media, the way that he talks about film and television in this documentary, because you do see a lot of classical composers who have a tendency to look down on film composition and movie scores and things of that nature. But just hearing Steven Spielberg talk about the way that John Williams changes the dynamic of anything that Spielberg puts in front of him, like, E.T. isn't E.T. without John Williams' score. Jaws isn't Jaws without ba-da. So it's amazing how transformative film score and composition can be, and seeing someone come from this, primary like jazz upbringing, and then shifting his focus into composition and having that find his way into film, and how much he enjoys the medium and the art form, and how he can lend his talents to that, I think is really beautiful.
Yeah, it was interesting listening to this. It was just how much he just treats it like it's a job, because it really is just a job. Like him talking at the beginning of the show, where it's like, yeah, my mom worked in music, my dad worked in film. That's why I was around all of this. It was just what I assumed adults did, so I did it. Like, it makes so much sense when you think about, like, oh yeah, of course you were just around all this so much. But then he talks about, like, how he really started getting into composing, and it started with freaking musicals. Some of my personal favorites. He's the one who did the composition for Fiddler on the Roof. One of the best known versions of Fiddler on the Roof, or West Side Story, or a few other ones in there. Like, this is obviously Griffin's give me a second, I'm going to talk about musicals moment, but arranging a musical is very difficult, even though the music is already written for you. So to get into those and do those very well, and then also have those in-between moments that are essentially extra on top of it for certain musicals. There's some musicals that have their music all the way through. It's such a interesting leaping off point to go from that to composing your own stuff, but it's also a jumping off point that I think makes a lot of logical sense for this guy. Like, he does have such a genius music brain that of course he just goes off and starts composing after that.
I didn't think I could say anything tonight to make you more angry with me.
Did you just Google what Fiddler on the Roof is?
No, I know of it. I've just never seen it.
Fiddler on the Roof is a harrowing watch, I will tell you that.
Again, this is one of those things. I came out of this documentary with a list of things I need to watch, and then also Godfather.
Yeah, I think of all of the things that I'm most upset at you at, it's Godfather is still number one.
I have this weird history with Godfather's Scorsese, right? Yeah. No, yeah. I never really connected with his films. Like, I've never seen Taxi Driver.
That's upsetting, but not as upsetting as everything else.
I've never seen Scarface.
Fair enough. Taxi Driver was so I took a film class in college because I needed the credits.
Because you're yeah.
I needed the credits, and you told me that I could watch movies as a class. I was taking that shit. Yeah, then I skipped a lot of those movie watches and almost failed the class, but that's beside the point. Taxi Driver was one we watched for that class. It was so weird watching that movie through like an analytical lens when you want to just sit and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's probably, like, I had a few courses through school. So, I mean, for background, I was raised Catholic, so I went to Catholic school. But by the time you get to high school, religion class is really just watching movies and analyzing them with a religious lens. But it was like 1 year. So there was this teacher. Okay, so this is going to get very, very off the rails. So there's this one teacher that everyone wanted to have because all he did was watch movies, didn't do tests, didn't do nothing. Like, you just watched movies and he'd ask you to, like, write about it. Like, all right, cool. And it's all like opinion, so it never really meant anything. If you handed it in, you pretty much got perfect grades. But his class was the first time that I saw it's gonna kill me if I can't remember the name of this damn movie. Shit, I had it and I lost it. Never mind.
That went so off the rails that you went off the rails and forgot your story.
Look, that class was 16 years ago, so forgive me for not remembering it because I suck at remembering things.
Fair enough. Obviously, it's kind of hard to talk about a documentary, especially when we are like largely a recap show, right?
Yeah.
This is a documentary everybody should absolutely watch. If you enjoy movies
Oh,
in any substantial way, like watch this. This is even from like a nitty gritty nerd standpoint. The way this thing is edited in particular, is so damn good. Like it is worth checking out. I'm quietly bringing up the crew on here because I want to.
Yeah, I think the other really interesting thing about something like this is everyone knows John Williams' music, but very few people know John Williams the person. And I think a lot of this background into him and his family history, the dynamic, the fact that he lost his wife when he did, that was, really hard to have to, feel for him and his kids at that time. And it's just, there's a lot of himself and his shared experiences that he puts into the work that he's put out, and to get that, to further dive into the mind of the man that's produced some of the most, if not the most iconic film scores of all time, was just, from a film lover's perspective, a really good time.
Yeah, so the people I want to shout out the most here are Toby Thierman, who does the cinematography for this. Because the way they are shooting their interviews is pretty standard for a documentary, but it's always interesting. I think he really handles backgrounds very well. But especially some of the shots of John playing the piano, or some of just the kind of the moment-to-moment shots are so gorgeous, are so well done. But the absolute people that deserve all of the credit on this are Ciara Neal, David Palmer, and Jason Summers, who were the editors of this. This whole documentary flows so well and so quickly. We have so many movies that this man has done, and you have so much you have to get through in as much amount of time as the documentary provides. You really have to be smart on the time that you're adding here. Laurent Bolzero is kind of known for documentaries at this point. Like, the dude has done documentaries, obviously this one. He's done ones on West Side Story, E.T., Dr. Sleep. He's done a lot of, like, bonus feature stuff as well. Kind of just production, whatnot. So to do John Williams, like, you can tell that when, like, someone went to the studio to Lucasfilm and was like, hey, we're doing documentary content for Disney Plus. They're like, we got two. You got to talk about ILM and you got to talk about John Williams.
Which I think is entirely reasonable. And I'm very glad that they did it.
Mm-hmm. There's so many themes we could talk about here. We mentioned Harry Potter being like, whether, even though she fucking sucks, like, what a music.
J.K. Rowling aside, the whimsy and the I mean, to be super corny about it, the magic that he imposes with this theme that really brings that series together. And I love his idea, the idea that he presents of, he doesn't want to do sequels, but he tones that he set up. Just the tones and the themes that he sets up in those first, two? I think you only composed the first two Harry Potter films?
First three.
The first three carries through the rest of the series. So his legacy is there. And you look at something like Indiana Jones, where I don't think he composed the later film. Oh, no, he did compose
every
the whole
single
thing,
one.
right?
Yeah. That was one of the ones I talked about, where it's, he's like, I don't like doing sequels, but I don't trust anyone else with this. I want to be the one to do it because I have this through line with his music. And it shows. Dial of Destiny, like, we were very split on that movie, but I think we can both agree. Like, I love it, but it's not a great movie. The only thing I needed out of that movie was to see Harrison Ford, see the hat, and for the theme to hit. And that's what we needed, and that's what we got. Also, we got a brand new, amazing theme for Helena in that movie. Like, the dude just knows themes.
The dude don't miss. I can't think of a single production that he's done that I haven't enjoyed.
Yeah. I'm going through his IMDb because I just have it up, and there's some other like really random weird things in here. Like he did the theme that they use for the college football national championship.
That's very specific.
Like he did that. He does a bunch of TV specials still. He just composed stuff for TV specials in 2022. You can tell that this man just loves making music. And I would tell you that the current state we're at of like this love of film music would not exist today without John Williams.
No. To be frank, I don't know if film is what it is without John Williams. Like this man has shaped generations of composers that have come after him and will continue to do so well into the future because of the way that he frames films or composes films and frames them in a way that no one else has really been able to capture.
Yeah, he manages to see the heart of the film and capture that into the musical essence of it. Like they mentioned like the conversation in Jaws of like the kind of setup that the temp music that Spielberg had used was very horror. And he was like, nah, this is a surf movie, music-wise. And he gives us that. And it's still foreboding in the best possible way. Or how he handles, like, the stressful situations in a movie like Minority Report. Or the fun and whimsy in E.T. Like, the sense of wonder you get in Jurassic Park. All of that is just core to that music. It's so damn good, man. Just so damn good.
I don't know if there's much else we can say here, to be honest.
So in summary of our 30-minute
this
podcast, John Williams is the fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
This is also the man, and we haven't even mentioned it, that did the composition for fucking Home Alone.
That one takes us a little too close to the events of this past week.
I'm talking number one.
Just it's still...
It's more just so I can say he's also done Christmas shit. Because like we've said, everyone has a Christmas album.
Including John Williams.
That's right. I was trying to bring it full circle. I kind of forgot about Home Alone 2. I won't lie to you.
One more thing that I want to touch on that I want us to commit to, and it's going to be hard to do so for me, at least for the next little bit, but I really want to commit to this. We need to see John Williams perform at the Hollywood Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a bucket list worthy trip. And I think if I ever do make it out to California, I'm doing it around this. Like, this is the event, and the other stuff can kind of just happen around it.
So what I'm hearing is we're taking a trip, we're going to see him, and then we're going to Disneyland.
Well, yeah. But I need to wait until my child is of age to not be a dick on a flight.
Oh, no. Okay, that's fair.
Hey, Carmen. We're going to Disneyland.
We make way too many plans on this show.
But we're also going to go see John Williams perform live in concert, hopefully. John Williams. What about John Mulaney?
I love only getting half of this conversation.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, go watch this not biography. Go watch this documentary for one of the greatest composers to ever live. Yeah, that's what we got for this episode. John Williams is great. Go check out all their stuff. Keep on keeping on. Mitch, if people want to keep up with us, where can people find us?
At D+Us on YouTube. If you are already over there and seeing these beautiful mugs, like, comment, subscribe, share with your grandma, share with your music teacher, share with the other folks you walk your dog and or cat with. D+Us, anywhere you can find it, just search that. You can find it. You can find us. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we will see y'all in the next episode. But until then, have a magical day. Thanks for listening.